Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin mi naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta. Those are the Lapa Lapa, the El Dorado Beach Club, and at night for dinner, that El Dorado transforms into the ever-so-romantic Vista Grill with dramatic views of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors. Of course, at Lapa Lapa, you can enjoy that same view of the Los Muertos Pier all day long for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week, we're going to take a road trip. We're going to Bucerius. It's a beach town on the Bahia de Banderas, and it's in a different state. It's in the state of Nayarit, about 45 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta by bus. And we're going to be visiting Karen Blair, the owner of Karen's Place. It's a cool place to eat, to get hitched, like the wedding bell variety, get hitched, with the waves, breaking in the background and stuff like that. But first, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 26th of July, 2018. It is, it's summertime, and mosquitoes are plentiful this time of year in Puerto Vallarta, so make sure, my friends, if you're coming to Vallarta now, or anytime between now and, the end of October or so, you need to bring lots of mosquito repellent. Now, they have these fogging trucks, actually, that go around. They have these little machines. They spray this mist, this stuff. But you're going to need to pack your own DEET, okay? You can't go following around some fogging truck. Anyway, make sure that you come and protect yourself. And if you don't, make sure that you go to the local drugstore. Any of the pharmacies will be carrying what you need. Some of that local off works really well. Now, it's going to be a busy weekend this weekend. There are two big events coming up. And if you're in town, you don't want to miss either one of them. This Saturday, July 28th, beginning at noon and going until 8 p.m., we're going to have the Quale Music Festival. It's going to be all day long, and it's going to be at Babel Bar. And there's going to be, the best musicians in Puerto Vallarta are going to be playing there. That's what they say here. And there's no cover. You just come and eat, and you drink something and enjoy the best live music. There's going to be Son de la Osita, Santi Martin, Moruno, Sweet Sound, Zo y Leon, Rucastilla, and La Boguita. I have links, actually, to all these different rock groups, all these different bands. They're not all rock groups, all these different bands. And so go to my show notes. I have links to them there, but they're going to be all performing. And then at the end, they're going to have a big jam session. So you don't want to miss it. Again, it's going to be Saturday the 28th from noon until 8. And go there and visit with my friends over there at Babel Bar. I took you there last week, if you remember. It's on Quale Island. And if you haven't heard that interview that I had with the owner there, Arantxa, from Spain, she and her husband have young kids, school-age kids, and we talked about that. We talked about them moving from Spain, coming to Mexico, and, setting them up in school. We talked about hospitals and stuff like that. A very, very interesting conversation. We learned, of course, all about Babel Bar. And once again, if you are in town, you don't want to miss the festival. And then next, on Sunday, the following day, is the 6th annual Ceviche and Aguachile Festival. Now, I tried really hard to get Edgar Cisneros from the Ceviche and Aguachile Festival on the show, but when I tried to get a hold of him, the bandwidth just sucked yesterday. I mean, our connection on Google Hangouts was so poor, he could hardly hear me, I could hardly hear him. So I thought I would just go ahead and pass on the news that he was going to tell you. So let me read. He says, this will be the 6th edition of the festival, the Ceviche and Aguachile Festival. They will have around 40 different combinations of ceviche and aguachile with fish, shrimp, tuna, oysters, octopus, and many more. And all will be prepared and presented by local restaurants. And this year they have 10 local restaurants. I have a list of those restaurants, by the way. Along with the fish, along with the ceviche and the aguachile, they're going to have 2 stands with craft beer being served. One is Molusco, and the other is Los Cuentos Cerveza. There will be 2 stands with Raicilla, La Ingrata, and Ritual de los Dioses. And then they're going to also have Agua Frescas, ice cream, and all kinds of fun stuff there too. So it sounds like a lot of fun. The live music, it's going to be over at the Lázaro Cárdenas Park, by the way. There's going to be live music. It's going to start at 12:30 with Sal de Mar, a local band of young guys who play reggae, R&B style. And it's going to be very nice and tropical music for that event. And then at 3 o'clock, you can enjoy Polynesian dancing. At 4 o'clock, they're going to have huichol music. And at 5, a charro show. I imagine that's with horses, I suppose, not the hoochie coochie girl. Gee, I wonder if she's still alive. I wonder if Charo is still alive. Let's see. Yes, she is. Oh, okay. Well, Charo was born January 15th, 1951. That makes her 67 years old in Molina de Segura, Spain. Okay, so she is still alive. Okay, well, all right, let's get back to the horses. 5 o'clock, the Charo show, and that's the horse variety. And at 6 o'clock, there's going to be DJs that will take over and play some music and play out the event. The entrance to the park is free, of course. And each of the stands are going to have special prices starting at 15 pesos per tostada up to 40 pesos for the premium seafood ceviche. So, that's like 15 pesos is like 75 cents. 40 pesos is like $2 US. So really very, very inexpensive way to get walk around and have a good time. It's going to be outdoors, you guys. So, be prepared. Wear hats and all that other good stuff. He also says that for the first time, they're going to have a contest and choose the best ceviche from Puerto Vallarta. This should be very interesting. People will have a sample from each restaurant, and they can choose who's best by putting the plate in a trash can, which represents the various entrants. And at 6 p.m., they're going to count all the plates and decide who the winner is going to be by popular demand. So, all right, well, that sounds like fun. Once again, that's going to be Sunday, the 6th, starting at noon 30 at Lázaro Cárdenas Park, at Parque de los Azulejos, as we know it, right? Also, taste aguachile from 10 different restaurants with entertainment until 6 o'clock. So that sounds like a lot of fun, and I have all the information in the show notes for this episode. So, what is aguachile anyway? According to Wikipedia, aguachile is a Mexican dish made of shrimp submerged in liquid seasoned with chili peppers, lime juice, salt, cilantro, and slices of onion. Fresh vegetables such as cucumber are usually added. And its name implies, as its name implies, aguachile basically translates to chili water, and it's a much spicier version of ceviche. It seems that the most common type of aguachile is with shrimp, cucumber, onion, and lime juice. The chilies are usually blended with the water to create the marinade. All right, so that's very, very interesting. I actually have a recipe here for aguachile. Let me read to you a quick little recipe. If you guys are, at all interested in doing a little cooking yourself at home, you just get yourself a pound of extra large shrimp. You peel it and devein it. A cup of fresh lime juice, which is usually about 8 limes. 4 to 6 serrano peppers with the stems removed. I see they leave the seeds and the veins intact to keep it nice and spicy. Okay. 2 tablespoons of grapeseed or olive oil. Okay. And then you peel and clean the shrimp. You use a small sharp knife to butterfly the shrimp open. Slice it into 2 pieces. It will help the shrimp lay flat while marinating, and cooking will give you smaller pieces that will be easier to eat. Rinse the shrimp in cold water. You pat it dry with paper towels, and then you transfer it back to a shallow glass dish. To the shrimp, you add 1/2 of the lime juice, making sure that the shrimp is covered in the lime juice. Then you season it with some salt, and cover and chill while you prepare the rest of the ingredients. And in a blender, you add the serrano chili peppers, 1/2 of the cilantro, and the grapeseed oil. Also the remaining lime juice and some salt. And then you blend it on high until it's reached its desired consistency. You taste it for the salt, add some if you like. Then you pour that mixture over the shrimp, over that shrimp and lime mixture, making sure that it's mixed nice and evenly. And then you season with fresh cracked pepper. You layer the cucumbers and onions over the top, add cilantro, cover and chill for 15 more minutes, and the shrimp will be ready to eat. Well, only after 30 minutes, it says, but you could leave it until you're ready to eat. Before serving, you mix it all together, you garnish it with avocado slices, and the remaining cilantro, you serve it with tostadas or with saltine crackers. And so there you have it. Now you can make that yourself. Go ahead and do that yourself. Or you can just, hop on down on Sunday to the Aguachile, to the Ceviche and Aguachile Festival, and have them make them for you for 75 cents a piece. Okay? It's a whole lot cheaper to have someone else do it for you than making it yourself and having to clean up all that mess, right? But, now you know how to do it. If you can't fly down to Puerto Vallarta, you want to make your own aguachile, I got a copy of that recipe in the show notes for this episode. So check it out. But at least you know what goes into putting together this delicious dish. I got 2 5-star reviews in iTunes from you listeners. Thank you, guys. The first one is from Sambo Julo from the USA, and it says, I love listening to this podcast. I have a condo in Mismaloya. I'm there about 6 times a year for either a week or 10 days. Oh, you are so lucky. Listening to Barry and his guests is so entertaining, it's like being there. Great advice, tips, maps, and all things Puerto Vallarta. Keep up the good work, Barry. Ms. Maloya Rebecca. Okay, Ms. Maloya Rebecca. Thank you so much. Listen, I do this for you. All right. Then another 5-star review from Elaine and Tony. And they say, simply the best. My wife and I love your show. We now say, honey, let's get out of here. And my wife says, where do you want to go? And I say, to the PV Travel Show. Barry, you should do this for a living. In fact, PV should pay you to do your show. It's that good. We can't wait for your next podcast. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Elaine from Canada. You guys, I have 2 other listeners who actually have been on the show, Todd and Jeanette. Jeanette is the French goddess from Canada, too. They told me we did an interview with them one day. They came to the meet and greet over at the Por Favors over there, and we sat and we talked, and they told me that they dance to the Samba de Puerto Vallarta at the end of each episode. So I also have a listener, Dwight, and he lives really close to me, and he and his sister Lois is from Colorado. Anyway, we got together for some Mexican food here locally, and they were sitting across from me, and they acted out the first part of the show where he was me and Lois was Deborah, my wife, and they started to sing the Samba de Puerto Vallarta. So yeah, you guys are not alone. I love that song. You know, by the way, if you guys want to buy a copy of it without me talking over it, I have a link in the show notes where you can buy a download from Alberto Perez. I think it's just $1. So, go there and get your own. Anyway, thanks so much, for those 5-star reviews, Miss Maloya Rebecca, Tony, and Elaine. They're just so appreciated. I really, truly appreciate it. Okay, let's get on with the rest of our show. Let's go to Bucerius, and let's go to Karen's place. Now, I ask my listeners stuff like, what's your favorite place to eat? Where do you like to stay? Where do you like to explore? And in the first episode, I promised you guys that I would introduce you to wedding planners, photographers, stuff like that. Well, I have actually done that once. We talked to somebody over at the Botanical Gardens just at the very beginning of our podcasts. But I sent out a Facebook post to all of my Puerto Vallarta Facebook friends, asking them what was their place to get married, if they could introduce me to their favorite wedding planner in Puerto Vallarta. And the one place that came up most often wasn't even in Puerto Vallarta, you guys. It's in Nuevo Vallarta. It's across state lines. It's in Bucerias. Now, we haven't visited Bucerias, but we are going to today. And the person that kept coming up, the person's name that kept coming up in the place was Karen's place, and Karen Blair. So let's talk a little bit about Bucerias. Where is it? Let's talk a little bit of history. Now, from the Wikipedia, I can just go ahead and read. Bucerias, meaning place of divers, is a small beach resort town in Nayarit on a stretch of that country's Pacific coast known as the Riviera Nayarit on the Bay of Banderas, located between La Cruz de Guanajuato and Nuevo Vallarta. It has a population of about 9,000 residents. It's seasonal. Its influxes double that number, and it is a typical town in the region with cobblestone streets, a main square, church, and many services for visiting foreigners, and features a wide array of restaurants. It has an uninterrupted beach that continues north and south for a total of more than 18 miles. Bucerias is bisected by the Arroyo del Indio, a mountain runoff that remains dry most of the year. The arroyo also serves as an unimproved roadbed under Federal Highway 200, and it can be navigated by car far up into the foothills. The half of Bucerias north of the Federal Highway 200 mostly consists of citizens, nationals. The other half, south of Federal 200, the beachward there, consists primarily of foreign residents, both permanent and part-time. Once a quaint fishing village incorporated in the 1930s, Bucerias has become a quaint tourism town since the 1980s, when primarily Canadian residents began coming for extended stays with RVs and fifth wheels. Canadians remain a very large part of the seasonal population. The boom of all-inclusive hotels to the south in Nuevo Vallarta A development extending from the north end of Puerto Vallarta has driven building in Bucerias as well, although in a more muted way. Buildings rarely exceed 7 floors, and the units are condominium rather than hotel style. Each January, the town celebrates Our Lady of Peace, who was the patron of the local church, and there's a large, vibrant street bazaar featuring traditional regional art and textiles. So how do you get to Bucerias? Actually, I guess that depends on where you start. You're going to be crossing state lines if you are in Jalisco, if you are in Puerto Vallarta. So an Uber ride only will work in one direction. Uber cannot pick up in Nayarit, so you could take an Uber over to Bucerias. Now, you can take a cab, but you should do what I do, and that's just take a bus. Now, you can catch a bus from anywhere in town to take you to Walmart if you like, or if you are beyond Walmart, you can look for one of these ATM buses, and they will pick you up along the way and take you to Bucerias. You can catch any bus downtown, one of those blue buses, blue and white buses that say Walmart on the windshield. Catch that, and that will take you to Walmart. And then from there, you will hop on an ATM bus right there in front of Walmart. Make sure you ask the driver if they're going to Bucerias, but they are. The ride, depending on the traffic and the time of day, of course, both of those are related, about 45 minutes from downtown Puerto Vallarta to Bucerias. You can board on an ATM bus that says Punta Mita, which will stop in Bucerias on its way to Punta de Mita. Cost is going to be approximately 15 pesos or so. Or you can choose to take a green and white Compostela bus to Bucerias. They also stop there too, just make sure. 14 pesos for that one. I asked the driver if he knew where Karen's place was, and he did a pretty good job of dropping me off on the highway, on Highway 200, and I only had to walk about 3 blocks to the beach. That's when I came up. I came across a place that looked like a hotel or kind of a condo complex there with a swimming pool. And then in front of this complex was this restaurant, Karen's Place. She has the most wonderful accent, you guys. I can't wait to introduce her to you guys. So let's just go right now to a table with a view of the Bahia de Banderas in a lovely seaside restaurant. And let's meet my new friend, and hopefully now yours, Karen Blair. Karen of Karen's Place. Karen, thanks for inviting me here.
No problem, Barry.
Tell us about this place. Now, I'm listening to your accent. You are not from here. So tell me about where you're from and what was your path to Bucerias.
Originally, I'm from England, the north of England. And I came to Mexico the first time to Zihuatanejo, where my father was living at the time. And he actually moved to Bucerias. So that's how I got to come to Bucerias and visit him for some years. And then one year I decided to stay for a few months and didn't go home. Ended up staying here.
That sounds
loving it.
That sounds so familiar. Everybody does that. They get kind of stuck here for some reason. I don't know what the deal is here. I asked my listeners about where they're a great place to get married, a great place to eat in Bucerias, and I get Karen's Place all the time. So before we talk,
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
thank you everybody for supporting us.
Before we get to that, though, tell us a little bit about this place. Was it here? Was there something here before that, or did you build it?
No, it's funny really because when I first decided that I'd like to do a restaurant in Bucerias, then I'd approached here at the Casa Dorado, and they had it was a small restaurant, and at the time it was for rent, So I approached the owner, and it wasn't in this location. It was just over where there's some condos now.
Uh-huh.
So then after 5 years of being in one side of the Costa Dorado, I moved it into the Palapa area, which it is now. It's a palapa on the beach that has grown over the years because it originally seated like 30 people.
Oh, wow.
And I think now we seat like 120 in the high season. And so it's grown over the years of being here.
Okay, so that hotel is called Casa.
Where it's located is here in Suites Costa Dorado.
Okay.
Which have been here it was probably one of the first apartments to be built in Bucerias. It's been here for 40 years.
Ah, okay, so they're apartments. It's not really a hotel.
Yeah, they're privately owned apartments.
Ah, okay, all right. So I thought maybe you had some built-in rooms there for your guests that were staying for weddings and stuff, but no, that's not what that is.
It's funny because sometimes, the owners here are so lovely. I have one couple that always let the bride use their condo.
Oh, really?
To get changed in, yeah.
That's nice.
But we don't have, I have nothing to do with the suites as
Okay,
far
all
as
right.
letting people use them or...
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because kind of have to walk through there to get to here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. It's actually nice to walk past the pool and do that. So, all right. So tell us about, because this is it's an audio show. Tell us about your concept. Tell us about what you got going here.
As far as the restaurant?
Yeah.
Then we pretty much offer everything. We're located on the beach. This time of year you get to see the kite surfers, millions of them, because it's the windy season and the wind festival's coming up next weekend. But the concept here is we're open from 9 till 9, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and a mix on the menu. So I think there's everything now because we offer for nationals. If you're looking for a Mexican dish, we have that on the menu. We have American style, we have European style meals. So I couldn't say it's fusion cuisine, I would say, because we do offer various things on the menu. And it is a very vast menu as well. It's not a limited menu, so it's a good choice on the menu.
I have a lot of people say that Karen's Place is a place that they go to for breakfast. So what's going on at breakfast that makes everybody so excited?
When I started, which this year it's actually 20-year anniversary.
Really? Wow.
28th of November, so I think we'll be doing a big party for everyone. But I started with just breakfast. And I think it was like 3 items. So it's always been a strength on the breakfast, and it's grown over the years. But I think just the vast choices on the breakfast, and everything's fresh. Everything's made here, all the sauces, everything's our own recipes. And I think, people come back. We have a lot of customers from Puerto Vallarta. And from all around, a lot of locals come here.
Really?
And in the season, then we have all our repeat customers. So it's a very strong following, really.
All right. So what's the favorite? Is there a favorite dish on that menu that gets ordered most?
Probably.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's difficult because we could say, because we offer like really good eggs Benedict, which. There's a very funny story about the first day I opened, if you want to hear it.
Of course I want to hear it. You kidding me?
So the first day I opened was a Sunday brunch. And at the time I didn't have staff. It was just me and my friends working in the kitchen and a friend of mine on the floor. And so the menu was a brunch menu, so it was 4 items. And one of them was the eggs Benedict. And so orders started coming in the kitchen. And back then you could get away with a few things. And anyway, the eggs Benedict come in. We've got the muffins ready. We've got the sauce ready. Really good hollandaise I make. And but then all of a sudden I was like, well, does anybody know how to poach an egg? And some of my customers will tell you the story that we did actually microwave those eggs on that first day.
Oh my gosh.
And we never do it anymore, by the way. We do poach them very nicely now, but it was... I think if anyone's been in the restaurant business from the scratch start, then they'll know there's always these funny stories that you have. No.
Yeah, you were all ready. It's like, oh, wait a minute, there's that one step.
No, it was too funny. But I think after 20 years, we've got it down.
You nailed it.
We know how to poach an egg.
It's about time. All right, so... as I said earlier, people were saying, your place is a really great place to hold a wedding and have a wedding. Mm-hmm. And so tell me a little bit about how somebody who isn't in town would plan a wedding here.
It's funny because weddings I've done for 18 years and I take control of them all. So that from the moment they're mainly done by email because it's normally, there are some local weddings that we do here, so they can come and meet with me and sit down and we go through everything in the meeting and various meetings. But when it's by email, then we have a lot of, I have a lot of information for them as far as pre-planning form, planning, a checklist, so every little thing I have in writing in format so that it's very easy.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it all templated out, you can just send it out, right?
Yeah. So they just fill everything out of what they want. The one thing that I pride myself in is every single wedding's different. I sort of go with the bride and groom as far as everything that they want is tailor-made. So that every wedding's different, because every bride and groom's different.
They are. Yeah.
So I love it because I love doing the decorations. I love doing the flowers. So I really do enjoy doing the weddings, and I think that's why we always end up doing very nice weddings. Because I enjoy them so much, and I make it really easy on the bride and groom as well, so they're not stressed out. I've not really had any occasion that I've dealt with a bridezilla because I'm very relaxed with it and I make them very relaxed, although underneath I'm probably stressing out like crazy and I can't talk to people on the day. But it does, I make them feel very, very comfortable as far as the wedding goes. And as far as just every bit of information, like photographs, we have a lot of information because I've done weddings for so many years that there is a lot of photographs, a lot of backup, and you learn as you go along as well. So every little point that a bride and groom needs to know before they come here, then they get that information from me directly.
Okay. How do you plan out the menu? Do you have options for them?
We have on the original format that I send out to them. It's like a package that we offer, and we have various packages, and then we have various menus. So as far as the package, then they can choose a basic one that's just like a ceremony set up on the beach and dinner. And that would be like for a small wedding. If it's a larger wedding, then you'd have fireworks, DJ, mariachi, and we've had includes everything really that people would expect for a big wedding. And then as far as your menus, then we offer selected appetizers. So like after the ceremony, then we have like some finger foods and a bellini. And then when they sit down for dinner, then we have a choice of like 4 menus that give them choices on those menus. Really? Oh. So it doesn't overload them. No, I think if you offer too much, then it can stress the bride and groom out too much. No, so we offer enough. The menus give enough options that they can find something that suits them and their guests.
Right. I'm sure you have like vegetarian and vegan options for those crazy people who always get in the way and make it hard. Not at all.
You know what I found, and I'm doing a new menu right now for the summer. So we're finding a lot of people asking for vegan meals. So I've found like about 4 new items that we're going to add onto the lunch menu, and we have a really nice dinner menu now as well. So we're incorporating some vegan items
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah.
Good for those pesky vegans.
No, but it's healthy living.
I know. I'm gonna get emails.
Living.
I'm gonna get emails if I keep that up. I'll be quiet about that. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stop that right now. So there's no standard. There's no real standard wedding. Everybody's different, and that's kind of how you do it.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have any outside catering, or is it all done here?
No, it's all done here.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we do all the.
Well, that way you have more you have more control over what's going on, making sure that it all gets done right. You're aware of what your staff's up to.
We have a really
it's not your first barbecue.
You've
really
done it
a bunch of times.
crew in the kitchen, so they work it really well when we've got weddings.
All right. So, have you ever had? Well, you already said that you haven't really had a bridezilla.
No, I haven't.
All right, darn it! I'd love a bridezilla story from you, but you don't have one. All right. So, has anybody ever left somebody at the altar here? Maybe.
No, definitely not. But what did happen once? We had this great plan where it was the groom was German and the bride from Guadalajara. Lovely, lovely couple, really nice. And he had this crazy idea to come flying in. So there's a photographer called Dan from Max Mex Photography. And he has
Dan the Flying Man.
Do you know him?
Yeah, oh sure, I've interviewed him.
So Dan
I saw that
has
video.
This idea to bring the groom flying in.
Yeah.
No. And unfortunately on the day, it was mid-May, like it is now, and the winds pick up. And he couldn't do it in the end. But he had it all out. They do the music from, what's that movie?
Like Rocky or something? Oh, yeah. It's the...
so that was the music that they had planned, but that was the
Mission
only
Impossible.
thing
That
was it, Mission Impossible.
And evidently it was Mission Impossible because he couldn't land.
Do it. It was a shame.
So what happened there? Everybody got sat on the beach and waited for Dan to land somewhere?
No, but it was fine because the groom eventually... They came at the side here, and he just walked up the beach, and then it didn't delay anything. Nobody noticed. It was perfect. No, there's always, if there is a hitch, then you can always handle it. No,
right.
It's not. We're in Bucerius, and we're on the beach, so anything can be handled. No?
Well, when Dan was telling me about that, and I'm going, no way, man. So what if you killed the groom on the way in there? I mean, that just would be wrong. But that's very funny that you mentioned that.
I actually went up flying with him once.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did you like it?
Unbelievable.
He's in Germany right now, so...
No, I think he's back.
Is he back?
He's back.
Oh, I got to call him then.
So you can question him on those things
again. Yeah. Well, we've already talked about that story. All right, so... let me ask you a couple things about Bucerius, because... This show is centered in Puerto Vallarta. I do all that stuff down there, and I think this is really my first little trip up to Bucerius with my audience. So, if you come to Bucerius, what should you do here, other than come to Karen's, of course?
It's funny because I've been here in Bucerius for 25 years. I've had the restaurant for 20, and I think Bucerius is changing a lot as far as what it offers. There's, water sports. Right now is the wind festivals coming up. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of kite surfers in town. So I think that's one thing that is just great this time of year. A lot of paddle boarders going out right now in the mornings. Right. The dolphins were jumping yesterday right out from the restaurant.
It's so pretty out there too.
Bucerius offers a great art walk. There's lots of new little art galleries opened just within the last year. I've seen further down on Lazaro, and when you go into Bucerius village now, there's a lot of unique places opening up. Restaurants, art galleries, massage places, quite unique, yeah. There's a Wednesday market that actually just finished. Yeah. It was here for the high season, that had a lot of great food, great arts. That won't be back until probably mid-October, but that was a nice little thing to have in town here. there's a food. It's like a restaurant walk. I don't know if you've heard of BC Bicycles.
No.
So it's BC Bikes is a bike tour company that's here in Bucerius now, and they actually do a restaurant walk, and they take you to various different restaurants in Bucerius that is really interesting to go on. Personally, the greatest thing I did this winter was to go out sailing out of La Cruz. It's just around the corner, and we actually, there was so many whales out there this winter, unbelievable. But yeah, Bucerius, there's great little restaurants opening up as well. In just like hole in the wall places that are just unbelievable. Great people opening up.
Tell us. You got some hole in the wall places that you could tell us about?
No, really. It used to be a hole in the wall, but it's the bistro, which is just a block from here. Is one of my favourites that I enjoy going to. I don't know if you've been to Sandrina's.
Oh, I walked past it, but I haven't been in there.
Well. We had a great lunch there. My mum was visiting for 2 weeks over the last 2 weeks.
You just took her to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Mom. On Mother's Day. Oh, you poor thing. Took her to the airport on Mother's Day. That's so wrong. It's so wrong.
It's that direct flight from Manchester. She very easy for her now to come over. But yeah, there's quite a lot to explore. The sad thing is when you work so hard, we don't have time to explore it, but, right? You sort of, you do see there's a lot of new things happening in Bucerius, though, recently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you walk around and it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's growing along.
What's it like in Bucerius Village? Do people wander in there?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, Bucerius Village hasn't changed. Very traditional. So if you're there on Sunday night, then all the families are in the square, in the church square.
So they have a church square there?
They have a church square there, and it's beautiful.
Like everybody else has.
Yeah, and families walking around. And Bucerius Village is still very traditional Mexico. Okay,
so if you were going to be taking the ATM bus, and you were going to get off and go up into the village, where would you get off?
Well, the best way I can basically ask the driver for Bucerius Village. But as you get nearer to the village, then you would see the church. You see the church really as you get into the village. Okay. And the only point that I would look for is Comex. Sounds silly, but it's the Comex paint stores right there, and the bus stop's just a little after it. Which, but you do see the church as you get into the village on your left-hand side. Okay, so that's something you shouldn't miss if you come maybe into town, right? It may be a good idea to go. No, definitely to go into the village, and then to walk out from the village. Then it's a good, because we're sort of the south side of the church square. So then, but if you came walking this way, then there's art galleries, there's jewelers, there's like a little market stall. There's like a this side of the village of the church. Then there's all these little market stalls that are just fabulous to go and have a look on and bargain with them for gifts. Do they like more unusual places or different places than they have down in Vallarta? Or are they kind of the same? Different, yeah. I think no, because I think I've found things in Puerto Vallarta that are different for what I find here. No, everywhere's a little different. Like if you go to Sayulita, then it's a little different there. No, the things that you can buy and right. Yeah, so I think Bucerius has some unique things that you can find. Okay, and now in that little village, is there anything else that you shouldn't miss? Or just do a little shopping and wander around? Well, if you're looking for the game, then you go to Momo Joe's for the game. The game? That's the bar in town. Ah, really? And then there's the statue of the the diver, because
yeah.
Bucerius is named after the divers that dive for oysters.
Uh-huh.
And so that's there as well, is the statue of the
Okay.
divers.
Okay.
So that's a nice thing to look at.
Right. Don't miss this.
Great beachfront restaurants. Just traditional Mexico beachfront restaurants down in the village as well.
Really?
That's nice. Yeah, I think.
So the village has beachfront.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And loads of restaurants there on the beach and everything.
All right.
That's fun to go and sit there, people watching.
Yeah. Right. No
Yeah.
kidding, right?
Yeah.
All
And there's
right.
that, what's it called, that floaty thing? There's a big floaty
Oh, yeah,
thing
I saw
in the
that out in the-
village.
out
I
in
don't
the
even remember
bay.
what it's called, but
It's like a
but it's
little,
great
like a
for,
plaything, jumping on it and stuff.
yeah, it's a massive, I can't remember the name of it,
It's
but
like
it's
it's a massive jumpy.
jumping thing
Yeah.
in the ocean. So it's great if you've got kids,
Right.
as long as the waves aren't big. I think if the waves are big that day, and it's
yeah.
not been, recently it's been flat, so it's perfect to go on that thing, but the kids love it now.
Yeah.
They go, so Sunday day off, go and take them to the jumping castle in the ocean, and then
Yeah.
brunch at Karen's place.
Yeah.
Or dinner.
Or dinner.
afterwards.
Right. Or lunch. All three.
Yeah.
Not just or.
Yeah,
This,
exactly.
this, and this.
Some people actually do that, though. They come for breakfast and then I see them at dinner. Or I see them for breakfast the next time, like, did you sleep here last night?
You love those people. Don't,
Oh, I
don't,
do, I
Yeah,
tell
don't-
you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Now, we talked a little bit about shopping. Where would be your best deals around here?
Oh, probably on the market, no. On the market, or... Yeah, I think on the market.
Yeah?
In Bucerius.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can get some good deals.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
But in the galleries as well, you'll find, like, there's some really unique stuff now here. There's, I can't think of names of places. There's like Jean-Marie Boutique, there's Sandrina's, and they all have quite unique things. Down on Lazaro, no, there's a few art galleries that you find great stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And, if you need some tips, you might find Karen here. So come by and have breakfast and pick her brain. She'll be happy to tell you that, right?
Yes, of course.
What from here would be your favorite, like, getaway, like day trip? Like, I don't mean on getting on a boat. I mean, like, getting in a car and getting out of town for the day. Where would you go? She's going to tell me, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta. No.
Where would I go for a day?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, there's various places because normally I'd do a beach day, I think.
Yeah, because you don't get enough of that here.
No, because I'm right on the beach here and see it all the time, yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one because there's various places.
I mean, do you ever,
that-
like, cut out of town and go, inland somewhere? Or?
You know what's... Well, San Sebastian.
Uh-huh.
I've done that a few times where we've gone up there
Yeah.
and surrounding places. And that's been just beautiful. A funny thing that I like to do sometimes is just go to Guadalajara for a day and people think I'm crazy.
Yeah, how do you do that?
But sometimes I'll get on the bus and I'll do it on the bus. Just jump on the bus really early in the morning.
Right.
Do a day in Tonela, get stuff for weddings.
Really?
And come back in the evening.
You know what? I think I might do that too. I mean,
No, it's great fun.
So you get on not the ATM bus. You get on a different bus, right? You get on
I
one
just
of those
get on
fancy
the...
buses.
No, I do like the Vallarta Plus.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
Vallarta
it's here
Plus. That's
in
what I'm talking
Bucerius.
about.
You go to Bucerius
Hey,
and get
Vallarta
that.
Plus is a fancy bus.
Yeah, on the fancy Vallarta Plus. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. All right, so that
And
takes,
then,
5 hours?
No, I think it only takes about 4 now.
Okay.
And then just go have a full day in Tonla and get back late at night. And it's a great, just a little out of town, no?
Yeah. No, I mean,
And,
that's a full day away, and it's a lot of driving, right? It's like 8 hours of driving both ways.
It is.
So, okay. But,
No, but it's fun to do, yeah.
well, yeah. So
I
when
love
you...
going over to Sayulita as well. I enjoy going to Sayulita.
Yeah. When
and
you go
having
there,
a-
what do? Do you have a favorite restaurant up there?
For lunch, well, there's a few different restaurants there. Like Don Pedro's is the oldest one there, I think.
Yeah.
And I like sitting in Don Pedro's and watching the surfers. There's Alas Blancas that we enjoyed breakfast there the last time we were there. But I just like, Sayulita's so much energy, it's very busy, a lot of energy, a lot of great stores, good place to walk around, and I enjoy going
Lots of
out
hippies,
there.
it smells like weed all the time, it's a great place. No, I'm kidding you guys. No, I'm not. Okay. Tell us a little bit about. Tell us how people can find your place. Where are you at? You're on the web, I'm sure, and you're on the Facebook, and you're on the Twitters.
We have both those, like Facebook, and we have a website, and it's all Karen's Place Bucerius.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy to find. I'm not very good at updating things, so I apologise for that, everybody.
Yeah, we won't hold it against you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll also have links to all the things that Karen talked about, and I'll have little samples of some of the things that she sends out to brides. I'll have those in the blog post for this episode too, so you'll get a kind of a taste of what goes on there, and kind of how she works with her brides and their families and stuff like that, and gets them all ready for the big day and all that other cool stuff. Is there something I'm missing? Did I miss something about this place, or about Bucerius, or about?
There's probably lots more to find. There's lots more to find in Bucerius.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that means that you all have to come here.
Yeah, and explore.
And then start here at Karen's, and then go off and explore and check it out. And if you're looking to get married, for some reason, a lot of these listeners that listen to me say, go to Karen's place. So here I am. I've come to the Mecca of weddings in the Bahia de Banderas.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me introduce you to my listeners. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Barry.
Such a delightful lady. And a great place. Have a meal with your toes in the sand. Have a nice breakfast there in Bucerius, or lunch, or even dinner. I have pictures of the place. I have pictures of happy brides and food, and of course of Karen in the show notes for this episode. And I'm going to have links to the places that we talked about. I'm going to have maps of Bucerius. I'm going to give you proper directions on how to get there, to get to Karen's place. You're going to find all of those, once again, in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. All right, well, that should do it for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something I should be talking about, well then please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and send us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, well, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour right through him, right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you're going to be using someone else. So just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget to look for his maps. He's got his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. I have links to all of those in the show notes. But if you haven't been to my website, shame on you. You really need to get there and have a look. I have links to the places that we talk about, interesting pictures, and more, all right there in the blog posts and the show notes for each episode of the show that I create. So check them out if you haven't already, all right? Okay, so thanks to you, Karen Blair from Karen's Place. She's the best, isn't she? I have pictures of her place. I have some pictures of weddings that she does. I have links to all the places that we talked about in the show notes for this episode, so check them out. And if you're thinking about getting married in paradise, well, send her an email and get the ball rolling, you know? Or, if not, recommend her to a friend who's thinking about tying the knot in Puerto Vallarta. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler, signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta.